Happy Wednesday evening. Oh, I just saw some of you come to sit. I was going to ask you to come to stand for a moment just to give the spine a little release and to go upside down briefly. So come to stand where your feet are generously wider than hips distance apart. You might even go very wide. Make sure that your feet are parallel. Now, if you want to start to open the shoulders, you can bring the hands behind you and interlace the fingers or hold something between the hands. And then bend your knees as much as necessary so that as you start to fold from your hips, you're elongating the spine rather than rounding the back so that your head can completely loosely hang. Now, if you're not reaching the hands behind you, you might even like to hold opposite elbows and perhaps softly move the spine, like swaying it sideways. Just add whatever you're feeling you need to in order to go upside down and just shift your perspective, change the energy of what's been happening in your day to bringing more attention to your body, your breath and mind. Notice the way that you're breathing without changing that to start. Feel any sensations in your body as you pay more attention to the specific parts. Is there any heavy emotion or thought, or not so heavy, that you're carrying into the space? And then take a deep, arriving breath. You might even like to sigh it out loudly. A few more times. If you're not already, perhaps softly shake and nod your head. Let your shoulders rise away from your neck as your head descends towards the ground. Another deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth wide, maybe stick out the tongue to release some heat, and let it go. Now bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees a lot. And then as you round the back, start to roll up on an inhalation, stacking one vertebra at a time. As you come all the way up, heel toe your feet about hips width apart, parallel, and place your hands on your lower back so that your fingertips are face down, allowing your hips to stay slightly forward of your heels. Encourage the tailbone to descend as you start to roll the shoulder heads behind you and press the shoulder blades a little closer together and down the back. Let the heart rise as you start to look up without completely collapsing your head back so that you maintain space in the back of your neck. So open your throat and take a couple last deep exhalations through the mouth, hearing the breath. Bring your attention to the throat as you maintain an open space there and lift the head upright. So now find a comfortable seat. In the mindfulness practice inherent in yoga, listening is such an important skill that we practice. So here is a few extracts from a couple of sources I was recently inspired by. This one is by Shiliana Ayana, who is the founder of Rising Woman. She posted an article called "Listening is a Sacred Skill." She says that if there was only one thing every human could practice to create a safe, more loving relationship with themselves and others, it would be to practice how we listen. Listening with our heart to empathize, rather than listening with our head to defend, is one of the most undervalued relationship skills on the planet. It's one of the hardest things to do because many of us unconsciously believe that to disagree means we aren't safe. True conscious relationship is about stepping outside of our projections and perceptions so we can see from a clear space. According to mindful.org on deep listening, it says, unsatisfying communication is rampant in our society. and relationships between spouses, parents, and children, among neighbors and coworkers, in civic and political life, and in between nations, religions, and ethnicities. Contemplative practices, with their committed cultivation of self-awareness and compassion, may offer the best hope for transforming these dysfunctional and damaging social habits. A fruitful place to begin work is our quality of listening. Furthermore, Shiliana says that listening doesn't just happen with our ears. It happens with every cell of our body. It asks us to let go of everything we think we know so that we may enter a space of wonder, empathy, and curiosity. Sacred listening requires that we are self-aware enough to know when we are holding on to an old pattern so that we can make space for a new one to emerge. It requires a willingness to be flexible with our judgments and perceptions. Additionally, mindful.org says that deep listening is an ongoing practice of suspending self-oriented, reactive thinking and opening one's awareness to the unknown and unexpected. So we're invited to trust that there is always more to learn about ourselves through the relationship we have with the world around us. And it's up to us to build a safe haven within first, and then extend that outward into how we show up for those around us. So let's practice deep listening of our breaths, of our bodies, of our thoughts, and find that compassionate relationship within ourselves to feel safe, and then further our practice of deep listening with others. Let's bring the hands together at the heart center. Feel the physical posture of your body and how it promotes alertness and ease. Perhaps you have an intention to clarify for this hour of yoga. Let's start to direct the breath more consciously to balance how we feel and to encourage focus. Closing your lips, breathe in slowly, filling up the belly, the entire rib cage, relaxing the body, and then closing the lips. Breathe out just as slowly, softly narrowing the back of your throat to hear a gentle whisper, both as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Balancing the lengths of the breath to a steady rhythm. Listen if you hear the sound of your breath disappear. Sometimes it indicates the mind is elsewhere. Just bringing back your attention to the breath by re-engaging with the sound. Let's softly open your eyes and let's make our way down to all fours. We'll shift the pelvis back with feet touching, knees together or apart, to pause a moment in child's pose. This posture of rest that's available to us whenever we hear that our body needs it. So know that in your practice today, it's really a matter of your moment-to-moment choice, how physically intense or not intense you make it. So as you reach the arms forward, draw the shoulder blades down the back. Let the pelvis weigh down towards your feet, and take just a couple more breaths to feel the full length of your spine. Then walk your hands back towards your outer knees. Lift your spine upright and bring your knees close together so they're not wider than hips distance. If this is uncomfortable to sit on your shins, you could stand on your knees instead and have your feet and knees hips distance apart. Communication. So place your hands behind you on the floor with the fingertips turned to face the rear of your mat. Gently lift the back ribs as you keep the pelvis heavy towards the ground. So you're trying to intentionally lengthen the lower back here. Press the belly gently towards the spine, firm the abdomen, and then broadening the collarbones. Bend the elbows closer together. To do that, lift the heart and then tilt your gaze up, opening your throat as you lift the chin, soften the shoulder blades down the back. So we did this standing just earlier. Imagine you could breathe through your heart for a moment, taking 3 deep breaths, focused in that area. Then lifting your spine upright, place your right fingertips directly behind your pelvis and raise the left arm up. Keep lifting through the center of your spine and relaxing the shoulders. Take a breath in. Now as you exhale, start to turn your chest to face the right edge of your mat, crossing the left hand towards the outside of your right thigh. And then maybe looking over your right shoulder. Just a few breaths here in this gentle spinal twist. Finding some mobility throughout the spine. Feel that your facial muscles are relaxed here as you listen to the quality of your breath. As you exhale, release the right hand and place it behind your pelvis to switch. Raise the left arm up. Sorry, your right hand up. I'm not mirroring you right now. And then lift the spine tall as you breathe in. Twist to your left as you breathe out. Notice how your 2 hips stay heavy towards the ground. Crossing the right hand outside your left thigh, lift up through the crown of your head. Feel the open, natural space between your chin and chest. And continue to use the side muscles across your waistline to keep turning the chest. Perhaps you look over your left shoulder. Just a couple more breaths. As you breathe out, look forward and crawl forward onto hands and knees, spinning your fingertips to turn out in any degree to face the outer edges of your mat or maybe your knees, stretching the inner sides of your wrists and forearms. Take an inhale to slowly stretch the spine forward, then coil your chest up into cow pose. With an exhale, tuck your toes behind you and hollow the belly to round the back into cat pose. Again, inhale, stretch the spine forward, keep the toes tucked, and coil the chest up, sliding the shoulder blades down. Exhale, firm the belly, tuck the tailbone under, and drop the skull to round. Take 2 or 3 more cycles of cat-cow Betalasana on your own pace of breath. Exploring motion of the extension and flexion within your spine. Opening the front and back of it. Now spin your index fingers to face forward so that they're parallel to each other. Walk your wrists a couple inches in front of the shoulders. Knees under hips. Spread the thumbs flat and tuck your toes. With very bent knees, lift your hips as high as you can and draw your sitting bones as far back as you can. Let your hands feel like they're trying to push them out away from your feet to really get a good lift of your shoulders away from the neck. Then completely drop your head. Look down at your feet. See that they're parallel, at least hips width apart. And maybe even pedal the feet slowly a few times to begin warming up the backs of your legs. Or add swiveling the hips left and right like you're doing the twist. Start to open the body laterally through the sideways. Now as you continue to lift the shoulders, freeing space in your neck, also rotate the outer sides of your upper arms or triceps downward towards the floor. The effect of broadening the shoulder blades wider across your back ribs. Feel free to bend the knees as much as necessary to feel the fullest length of your spine. And let's take a couple more breaths here in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. On your next inhale, raise the right leg up behind you. Then bend that knee and turn open at the hip. You might like to circle the foot at the ankles. You might like to circle the right leg at the hip. Keep breathing calmly, consciously, and relax the head down. Try to equally press through both hands and draw your left outer hip back, providing space in the left side of your lower back. Now with your next inhale, re-straighten the right leg behind you so that you're squaring your hips. As you exhale, slowly bend the right knee towards your nose, firming the abdomen to softly land the foot forward just inside of your right hand, coming into a lunge. Choose whether to lower your back knee or keep it lifted so that you can relax the shoulders away from your neck. Gazing forward, take a deep breath. On an exhale, scissor your right outer hip back, straightening the front leg whatever degree that you can bow towards it with a feeling of a flat back. Let's flow through that. Inhale, rebend the right knee into a lunge. Again, exhale, scissor the right hip back, extend your chest forward as you bow. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath like that. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor, and bow. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor, and bow. If your back knee is remaining on the floor, the movement is just the front leg anyway. So feel free to make that modification if needed. So come back to a lunge. Keep your left hand on the ground. You could place the back knee on the floor if you like. Use your right thumb and hook the outer crease of your right hip. Press it downward as you bend the front knee directly on top of the heel facing forward. Draw the right hip back as you stretch the spine forward from the pelvis down the center line of your mat. And then relax the shoulders away from your neck as you start to turn the chest to face the right into another spinal twist. Keeping your 2 hips evenly away from the floor. Raise the right arm towards the sky and rotate the tricep or the outer side of the upper arm to face the right wall. Then reach the right arm forward overhead while drawing both shoulder blades down your back. Firming your outer hips to keep your 2 hips balanced towards your midline. Keep rotating the chest. Maybe you're looking up towards the sky past the right elbow. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Find length throughout your spine as you breathe in. If the back heel is off the floor, firm it, or the back knee is off the floor, firm the heel towards the back wall. Grow the crown of the head forward. Last full breath. Now look down at your right foot. Lower your 2 hands to frame it and set the back knee to the ground. Curl the right toes up into a half split, plugging the right thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket to straighten the front leg, so that you keep your left hip directly above your left knee. As you flex your right foot, flex your quadricep, the front muscle of the thigh, supporting the hamstring. Breathe in, extend your heart forward, keeping the throat open. Breathe out, hinge from your hips, and bow just the amount, little by little, breath by breath, that allows you to feel most space in your body to welcome deep breaths. Let's take 2 more cycles. Ardha Hanumanasana. Right knee, crawl your fingertips a foot in front of your right toes. Tuck the back toes. And as you lift from the inner left thigh, flex the left foot and raise the left leg parallel to the floor. You can keep a bend in the right knee here as we take a very modified Warrior 3. Look ahead of the ground that's just under you. And extending your chest forward, lengthen the sides of your neck. Take 1 more breath. Feel the balance in the hips, the lift in the belly. Then step the left foot hips width from the right. Forward folds. Press your legs to the ground. Inhale, lift the chest and look ahead. Exhale, fold. From down to your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Gaze up. Exhale, join the palms together at your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, standing tall, lifted in the heart. Then exhale, hinge from the hips, leading from the heart, bow forward. press your legs to the floor. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Plant your hands flat on the ground, and exhale, step into your version of plank. Let's pause a few breaths. Choose to either lower your knees for added support or straighten your legs for more rigor. But stack your shoulders right on top of your wrists. Spread the fingers wide. Look on the floor in front of the hands and take one more in-breath. As you engage the belly, exhale, glide forward as far as you can before bending the elbows back. Feel the arms hug your side ribs as you lower all the way. Point the toes on the mat. Keep the pelvis on the floor. Inhale, lift your heart in Cobra Pose. Press down through your hands. Lift up through plank or all fours. Then lift the pelvis back to downward facing dog. As you hold this position for a few more breaths, imagine that I'm standing at the rear of your mat behind you. And I'm pulling the fronts of your hip creases up towards the ceiling and back towards the rear wall. Feel that kind of lengthening through the hips. Then from here, inhale, raise the left leg behind you. Bend the knee and turn open at the hip. Maybe explore circling the foot at the ankle or the entire leg at the hip for a few breaths. Just waking up the hip a little more. Keep evenly pressing through both hands and relaxing the neck while drawing your right outer hip back. Create space in the lower back. Strong in the belly. Inhale, straighten the left leg and square your hips. Then exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose, further engaging the belly to softly step the foot forward into a lunge of your choice. Either back knee lifted or on the ground. Take a breath in and gaze ahead of your mat. Exhale, scissor your left outer hip back and extend your chest forward as you bow. Keep going, breath-led movement. Inhale, bend the front knee to lunge. Exhale, scissor the left outer hip back and bow. 3 more breaths. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and bow. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and bow. So come back to the lunge. And keep your right hand on the ground. Feel free to lower the back knee as we set up to twist. Use your left thumb and hook the outer crease of your left hip, drawing it downward as you bend the front knee directly on top of the heel, facing forward. Square the hips so they're even height away from the floor and lengthen your spine forward, creating space in your neck. Steady the hips and rotate your chest to face the left wall. Raise your left arm to the sky. Keep the breath steady. Rotate your left tricep to face the left wall. That's the pinky finger side. And then reach the left arm overhead towards the front wall as you continue to relax the shoulders away from the neck and spiral the chest. Maybe you're looking up towards the sky. Last 3 breaths. Feel the evenness of your hips. Each inhalation, imagine lengthening your spine from your pelvis, elongating through the top of your head. And each exhalation, steadying your hips, continue to rotate the rib cage, twisting at your waist. Now on this out breath, look down and set your 2 hands down to frame your left heel. Lower the right knee and keep your right hip directly above that knee. Plugging your left thigh bone back, flex the left foot, toes come off the floor. Straightening the left leg, feel free to walk the hands as close to your pelvis as needed so that you can relax the shoulders down. Lift the heart slightly and lengthen the spine as you breathe in. Fold a little bit at a time each time you breathe out, finding just the amount of folding that offers space at your throat without rounding the shoulders towards the neck. Listen to the sensations of your body in any subtle way or loud way it might be speaking. Now gaze ahead of your mat and rebend your left knee, tuck your back toes. Crawl your fingertips a foot in front of your left toes. And keeping the left knee bent, flex the right foot And lifting from the inner thigh, raise the leg behind you parallel to the ground. Level out your hips, lift the sides of your waist, and look beyond, just below you. So look ahead to encourage length in your chest and neck. A few more breaths here. Modified warrior 3. And as you're ready, with an exhale, step your right foot hips width apart from the left and fold forward. Press your legs to the ground and inhale, lift the heart, gaze ahead. Exhale, bow in. Press down into the ground. Inhale, rise, gaze up. Exhale your palms to your heart center. Let's flow through one Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep the space around you. Exhale, dive in. Inhale, lift your heart, lengthen forward. Either step back to plank to lower or jump to lower to halfway down chaturanga. You decide, come all the way to the floor again for cobra or halfway down for upward dog as you breathe in. We'll meet in downward facing dog for 3 to 5 breaths. Downward facing dog. See that your feet are hips width apart. Turn out your left foot and spin the left heel down. Bend your right knee towards your nose, contract the belly. Step the right foot forward directly between your hands. See that your right heel intersects the arch of your left foot. As you bend the front knee like a lunge, press down through your feet and windmill your arms to rise into warrior 2. Let's move before we hold still. Track the front knee to align with the middle toe and inhale, straighten the legs, sweep the right palm to face up for a lateral stretch towards the rear of your mat. Exhale, rebend the right knee, back through warrior 2. Right forearm lands on right thigh, raise the left arm overhead towards the front of the mat. Let's take that a few more times. Inhale through warrior 2, straighten the legs and flip the right palm up for a lateral stretch, reverse triangle. Exhale through warrior 2, bring the right forearm to right thigh, sweep the left arm forward, side angle. 2 more rounds of breath. Inhale up, reverse triangle. Exhale down and forward, side angle. Inhale up, reverse triangle. Exhale down and forward, side angle. Keep the right knee bent and lift your spine upright. As you open the arms wide, see that your wrists land just above your ankles. Now set your gaze steady on one spot. Whether eyes closed or gazing just past the right fingertips, listen deeply to your breathing. To anything you feel in your body, including the figurative language of a knot in the stomach or the weight of the world on my shoulders, tuning into your felt sense, bordering intuition. Let's take one more breath. Virabhadrasana 2. As you exhale, lower your hands to plank. Either take a vinyasa of your choice like cat-cow or full-on, or go straight back to downward facing dog. We'll meet there. As you arrive in downward dog, look at your feet again and see that they're hips width apart. Then turn out your right foot and spin that heel down. Bend your left knee towards your nose, engage the belly, and lightly land the left foot directly between your hands. See that your left heel intersects the arch of your right foot. Bend the front knee just over the heel and cartwheel your arms apart to rise into warrior 2. So let's flow before we hold still again. Track the front knee to line up with the middle toe. And inhale, straighten the front leg, flip the left palm up and sweep it overhead towards the rear of your mat. Reverse triangle. As you exhale, rebend the left knee to warrior 2, but reach the left forearm forward onto your thigh. Raise the right arm up and overhead towards the front of the mat, side angle. Again, inhale up through warrior 2, Straighten the leg, reverse triangle. Exhale through warrior two, left forearm to left thigh, side angle. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, side angle. One more round. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale to side angle. Now keep the left knee bent, lift your spine upright, and as you open your arms, see that your wrists stack just above your ankles. Then steady your eyes, either inward or focus just ahead of your left hand. Feel the energetic approach to this physical posture. Is there any part that feels like it's straining in your body, including the breathing? Or is there any part that feels kind of lax? Finding a balance of strength, focus, softness, and ease. Let's take one more breath. On an exhale, lower your hands to the floor, step back to downward dog or flow on your own. Remember, child's pose is available anytime you want to rest. As you find your posture to be still in, take 3 deep breaths in and out through your nose. Listen to its quality. As you follow your attention to the end of this next breath, at the bottom of the exhalation, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat to fold. Let your feet come together to touch. Then inhale, raise your spine halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Circle the arms as you inhale to rise all the way up. Exhale, join the hands to your heart. Sun salutation. Right into a continuous flow. Bend the knees to touch and sink your hips low. Inhale to chair pose. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise halfway. Either step to plank to lower or lightly jump back to chaturanga. Breathe into cobra or upward facing dog. Breathe out to downward facing. So this is continuous here. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Exhale, lightly step it forward, slightly to the right, drop the back heel. Face forward and inhale, rise up all the way to warrior one, arms overhead. Then exhale through plank, lower into your vinyasa. If your breath becomes choppy and you need to ease off, feel free. Leg. Exhale, lightly step the foot forward and off to the left. Spin the back heel down, face forward. Inhale, rise up to warrior one. Right away, exhale, lower into your vinyasa or no vinyasa. Back to downward dog. Then meeting in downward facing, slow down your breathing. Observe any thoughts surfacing in your mind, the kinds of thoughts. At the end of this exhalation, lightly land at the top of your mat with your feet touching. Then inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. We're adding on, so bend your knees together in chair and prepare for a twist. Join your hands at your heart as you lift the spine upright. Shift your weight back towards your heels and breathe in. Feel the full length of your spine. Keep your hips still and rotate your chest to face the right wall as you breathe out little by little. You might sit lower if you want to intensify the posture and lengthen the spine a little more as you breathe in, twisting a little more as you breathe out. Maybe even add the leverage of your left arm pressing against the right outer thigh. Let's take 3 more breaths. Listen in here on whatever surfaces. Mind, breath. As you sit a little lower, raise your arms and come back to chair on an in-breath. Then join your hands at your heart and press your right foot to the floor. Raise the left foot as you rise to stand on one leg. Flexing the left foot. Turn out the left thigh at the hip and find tree pose. Hugging the left foot inside of your right ankle, calf, or thigh. Feel a rebalancing of your 2 hips as you firm the belly towards the spine. Now notice how you press into the earth through the 4 corners of your right foot. Spread the toes actively. Feel a rebound of lifting up through the body, up through your spine. Steadying the breath and eyes. Maybe explore lifting the arms. Or lifting your gaze. Or closing your eyes. Just play with it. Finding some lightheartedness in the practice. Couple last breaths in Vrikshasana, tree pose. And as you're ready, bring your hands together at your hearts. Step the left foot next to the right. And take a deep breath in mountain pose. Closing the lips, listen for that soft whisper at the back of your throat. With feet touching, bend the knees to touch and sink your weight towards your heels as you sit into chair pose. Hands together at your heart as you breathe out. Start to turn the chest to face the left wall. Little by little, take your time. Keep the knees in one line to make sure your hips stay squared, supporting your lower back. Not turning the pelvis, but turning the rib cage. Breath by breath, easing into whatever depth of this posture is necessary to find a balance of effort with ease. Last 3 breaths. Parita Utkatasana. Sit a little lower and inhale, lift your arms up. Join your hands at your heart and exhale, rise, lifting the right foot, knees in front of you, flex the foot. Turn out your right leg, hug your right foot inside of your left leg, inner ankle, calf or thigh. Then feel a rebalancing of your hips. Engage the lower abdomen. Press into the floor with the 4 corners of your left foot. Spread the toes. Lengthen up through the body, center line, up through the crown. Listen to the quality of your breathing. Explore. However you want to vary your arms, your gaze. We've got about 3 more breaths to play here. Then recenter your hands at your hearts and step your right foot next to the left. Lion's breath, a little cooling. Deep inhale. Open your eyes wide, mouth wide, and stick out your tongue. Perfect soundtrack for that. So from here, separate your feet hips width apart. Keep your hips facing forward and step the left foot back, 2/3 as far as you did in the lunge. Both heels on the ground, both legs straight. Firm the front of your thighs and firm your belly. Now bring your hands behind you, either pressing fist to fist, holding opposite elbows, or reverse prayer, palms together with the fingertips pointing up. Then pressing down to your feet, lift the heart towards the sky and open your throat. Take a breath in. Hinging from your hips, keep your spine long as you fold. Each inhale, pause where you are. Re-square the hips and lengthen the spine from them. Each exhale, firm the belly, firm the legs, and fold the amount that you can keep an open space at your throat. Taking 3 more breaths here in pyramid pose. Utthita Parsvatanasana. Now lifting the spine halfway up, gaze ahead of your mat. We're going to shift into Warrior 3, whether you'd like to place your hands together in front of your heart, reach for the floor ahead of your right toes, however you want to get there, or arms back by your sides, flex the left foot and lift from the inner thigh. Right knee could be bent if you feel tightness in your hamstring. Tack your right outer hip back, balance the two hips, and look past the floor just under you. Maybe you want to reach the arms forward and play with some fire there. Keep breathing. Keep opening the chest. Lengthen from heel to crown. Then as you're ready, bend the right knee, bend the left knee in front of you. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Bend the left knee just next to the right knee and use your left hand to catch hold of your inner left foot, if not the outer foot. Draw the tailbone downward towards your inner right heel and begin to kick your left leg back as it was in Warrior 3 as you pull the foot towards you. Using that contrast to steady your balance as you start to lift the heart and raise the right arm towards the sky, or reach the heart forward, tilting the spine forward. Feel the counterbalance of your left leg as you continue to square your hips. Natarajasana, dancer pose. Last 2 breaths, feel the heart space lift and open, throat open. And then as you're ready, lift the spine up and step the left foot hips distance from the right. Stand in mountain pose. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. Allow a pause to just listen to the aftermath of that short journey of poses. Now keeping your hips facing forward, step your right foot back 2/3 as far as you did in the lunge. Spinning the heel down and straightening the legs from the front of your thighs and your belly. Bring your hands behind you, either pressing fist to fist or holding the other elbow on top, or reverse prayer. This is to open the chest, open the fronts of the shoulders. As you ground through the feet, lift the heart up and gaze up. Breathe in. Keep firming the belly as you exhale to hinge forward from the hips. Breath by breath, keeping the hips even, both feet planted firmly, legs strong, heart reaching forward. Last 3 breaths in pyramid pose. Utthita Parsvatanasana. Now lifting the spine halfway up, keep firming the belly and legs. Decide how you want to place your hands to prepare for Warrior 3. Either reach for the ground for more support, join the hands at the heart, reach the arms back, lean forward and tilt the spine forward as if from the head to the right heel you're a seesaw. Flexing the right foot, turn the right outer hip towards the ground. Draw the left outer hip back. Feel the lift of the belly, chest forward. Listen to your breath. Maybe playing with any other arm variations. Before you decide to lift the spine, keeping your weight on the left foot, bend the right knee close to the left knee. Left hand to left hip. Reach the right hand back to catch your right foot inside, if not the outside. Knees close together, draw the tailbone downward towards your inner left heel, belly firm. As you kick the right leg straight, back to that position of Warrior 3, pull the foot towards you and use those counteractions to find balance while coiling your chest up. It's a heart opening posture. Raising the left arm up, breathe as though you could breathe from your heart. Keep sending the right hip forward, tacking the left hip back. Last 2 breaths in dancer pose. Taking your time without slingshotting the leg. Lift your spine upright. And step the right foot next to the left. Take a pause. to just listen inward. Then begin to lower onto your knees, standing. If your mat is thin, you need more cushion for your knees, you could fold the mat thicker just underneath it. Setting up for 1, maybe 2 rounds of camel ustrasana. So separate your knees to their hips width apart. If you have a yoga block, you can use the skinniest width and hug it firmly between your thighs. That will give the lower back some support. Tuck your toes behind you. Place your hands on your lower back, fingertips pointing down. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, imagine you're hugging one. So you keep the space, but you firm the outer hips towards the midline. With the hands gently pressing the pelvis forward, make sure to keep your pelvis directly above your knees the whole posture. Draw your tailbone actively downward towards the space between the knees, while lifting the back ribs away from the tailbone, lengthening your lower back. Then bend your elbows closer together, broadening your chest. Draw the shoulder heads back and down as you start to lift the heart and gaze up. Feel the throat open without collapsing the head all the way back. Now stay here for your count of 4 to 7 more breaths before you slowly lift the spine upright. You might explore holding one heel behind you as if you're holding a baseball, or both heels, as long as the pelvis can stay directly above the knees and you don't feel any tension added to your lower back. Feel most of the back bending just below your scapula, just under your shoulder blades, where the bra strap is. When you decide to come up, use the support of your hands again on your lower back and slowly lift your spine so that you can sit down and pause and listen to your body, breath, and mind. Now, Ustrasana, or camel pose, can be a pretty intense posture. So if you feel like you're done with it or you want to take one more back bend and bridge instead, feel free to do that on your own. Otherwise, you can sit and rest. Those of you coming back to camel, same setup. Or if you are able to reach both heels pretty easily and maintain alignment in your spine, untuck the toes to perhaps focus on the quality of your breathing for 5 or more deep breaths. Let's all meet sitting down again, placing the left hand on your heart center. The right hand just below your belly button. Feel your breath in. Match the length of your breath out. Then bring your legs in front of you if they're not already, preparing for a seated spinal twist. Extend your left leg forward and either step your right foot just in front of your right hip, or maybe set up for a little deeper twist by crossing the foot outside of your left knee, or by also bending your left knee. Just make sure that you can sit tall comfortably. Circle the right hand on the floor behind your pelvis and raise the left arm. As you firm down into the floor, lift up the spine and relax the shoulders, breathing in. Then twisting to your right, lower your left arm. So your hand either holds onto your shin or you hook your elbow outside of the thigh. As you breathe in, Press into the ground with all of your body that is touching the ground to lift up a little taller. Now as you breathe out, hollow your belly and see if you might be able to rotate the chest further. Relaxing the eyes, relaxing the jaw, taking 2 last breaths. And now as you unwind, keep the right leg on top and straighten the left leg forward. Crossing the right thigh even deeper over the left so that you might be able to stack the knees down your midline. Half cow face pose. We're going to add eagle arms for a counter stretch into the backs of the shoulders. So make sure you're sitting tall. Now you could make it with the left leg straight so that you offer a release for sciatica pain if you have any of that, or hamstring stretch, or you could bend both knees and splay both feet apart if you want to focus more on your outer hips. So bend the elbows apart and cross the left elbow over the right, either hooking your thumbs or wrapping your forearms and palms. Then press your shoulder blades down. Lift the elbows to the height of your shoulders. Sit tall, firm the belly gently in, and begin to exhale and fold forward. Pausing as you inhale to re-ground the pelvis and stretch the spine from it. Breath by breath. A few more cycles. In this hybrid of eagle pose in the arms and cow face posed in the legs. Garudasana, Gomukhasana. Let's take one more breath. Now begin to lift from the chest as you inhale to lift the spine. Circle the arms apart, stretch the legs forward. Now keep the right leg forward and let's set up for the twist the same way you did on the first side if possible. So left foot is either just in front of the hip or crossed outside of your right knee, or you're also bending your right knee. Then place the left hand behind your pelvis and raise the right arm. Press into the ground, sit taller as you breathe in, then twist as you breathe out. Lower your right arm, holding the top leg or hooking the elbow outside the thigh. Now feel every part of your body that is touching the ground. Press down with it and breathe in as you lift the spine up. Breathe out as you hollow your belly and keep rotating your ribcage. Let your shoulders relax. Let your jaw and tongue relax. Let the skin on your forehead and between the eyes relax. Last 2 breaths. Then unwinding, keep your left leg on top and either straighten the bottom leg if you want more of a sciatica release hamstring stretch, or bend both knees and splay the feet apart if you want to focus more on the glutes and outer hips. With the elbows apart, cross the right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. Press the shoulder blades down and lift the elbows to the height of your shoulders. Sitting tall, breathe in. Keep the pelvis heavy on the floor and exhale. Start to fold. Breathe in as you lengthen and ground. Breathe out as you fold. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now leading with the chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. Circle the hands so they land just outside your hips and straighten both legs into stick pose Dandasana. Flexing the feet, hips distance apart. Lift the heart, and then start to fold in, walking the hands forward to catch hold of the backs of your legs or to clasp your big toes. Each inhale, ground the pelvis and lengthen the spine from it. Each exhale, notice open space at heart and throat, folding in. 3 more breaths in Paschimottanasana. Then again, lead with the chest, lead from the heart, and breathe in to slowly rise. Come all the way to lie on your back, whether you'd like to put your legs up the wall and your glutes up against the wall as you're on your back, or simply come into bending the knees into your chest, taking one last pose or movement for 5 or so breaths before we completely lie to rest. You might practice shoulder stand. You might come into happy baby. And now if you are at legs up the wall, you might remain there, coming into Shavasana for a few minutes. Otherwise, start to lower your body into a restful position where you can lie still effortlessly. And once there, close your eyes. Take a slow inhalation, filling up mindfully throughout your lungs and belly. Holding the breath in, you might try to sip in a little more after, before you open the lips and clear it all out. And with that, letting go of controlling your breath. Allow this moment of stillness an opportunity to even more deeply listen. In the next few minutes, decide if you'll either remain in Shavasana a little longer or spend 2 minutes sitting in meditation. And for those of you that are making your way up slowly, take your time, stretching your body out. I'm going to read the 4 foundations of mindfulness relevant to the meditation practice, taught by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. On mindfulness of body, the basic starting point for this is solidness, groundedness. When you sit, you actually sit. Even your floating thoughts begin to sit on their own bottoms. On mindfulness of life, whenever you have a sense of the survival instinct functioning, that can be transmuted into a sense of being, a sense of having already survived. On mindfulness of effort, the way of coming back is through what we might call the abstract watcher, the plain cognition of being there before any of the rest develops. Mindfulness awareness practice is a way of fundamentally making friends with ourselves based on an attitude of gentle, non-reactive noticing. So those of you that are sitting, find a way to posture your body so that it feels welcoming for you to observe your thoughts. Breathing naturally. You might use the breath as anchor to feel your own presence. Just listening in to what kind of thoughts. 2 minutes here. Breathe in, breathe out. If you're still lying down, gently lift your body up to sit. As we join the hands together at the heart, bowing in gratitude for this practice. Gratitude to yourself for the willingness to show up and practice the art of listening. May we hope to use that for the greater good as well. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.